With less than 2 months to go before the start of Duane Keffe D. Davis's trial for Tupac's murder in Las Vegas, here is a quick update on recent developments. The first big news concerns Suge Knight's biography, Your Pain Is My Joy. It was scheduled to be published in August, which would have been just days before the start of the Tupac murder trial, but we learned a few weeks ago that they are now delaying its publication until December. And this could be for a number of reasons. But Suge supposedly addresses Tupac's murder in the book, so I personally think it's possible that Suge doesn't want anything in his book to contribute to someone getting sent to prison, even Keffe D, but no official reason for the delay has been given. Regardless, Suge's book will now be a non-factor at the trial. Another recent development that may be a factor at the trial, however, is this article from a couple of weeks ago claiming that Keffe has been caught on tape discussing the murder. Now, at first when I saw this headline, I thought it was a rehash of an old story about his original 2008 proffered statement or one of his public interviews where he talked about the case, but no. According to this article, Keffe has, quote, spoke about his role in the killing of Tupac in several recorded phone calls behind bars, according to a Las Vegas legal source. And they plan to introduce the tapes as evidence in Davis's trial. And why would he have been discussing details of this case again on a prison phone? Well, per the article, he allegedly mentions his involvement in the murder along with intricate details about how it happened, while discussing potential film and TV projects related to the case. Now, there have been at least 3 different projects involving Keffe and his story in various stages of development since he was arrested for Tupac's murder in 2023. Back in 2024, Keffe was nearly bailed out of jail by music industry businessman / Vlad TV personality Wack 100. Until it came out that they were allegedly planning some kind of entertainment deal regarding Keffe's story.
Have you ever stated that you planned on getting Mr. Davis out as long as he did a stipulation with you to do a television series with you?
No, I have said this story will be a very interesting story.
And ironically, this alleged plan was exposed in part thanks to Keffe talking about it on a recorded prison call.
The Jewish man that owned the fucking movie company, Jasmine and the fucking money that owned the fucking movie company, they just using them as a front, so it won't look like they did it.
So you'd think he would have learned his lesson about discussing sensitive business on calls that everyone knows are being recorded, but apparently he didn't. I suspect this more recent story about Keffe supposedly talking about details of the case over a prison phone may have been from this story back in February when British production company Pioneer Productions announced that they were developing a documentary about his trial, claiming they had, quote, exclusive access to Davis and his family. And Pioneer Productions is a real production company, not an amateur filmmaker, but a big company that produces a lot of programming for major networks. So even though that deal seems to have vanished or never materialized, it is very possible that someone associated with that project is who Keffe was speaking to back when they were figuring out if they could work together. But we will probably have to wait until the trial to find out exactly what he admitted to again. In other news, Keffe lost another defense attorney back in March. He started out back in 2023 with well-known Vegas attorney Ross Goodman, but I don't think he ever officially retained him. Then he had a pair of public defenders for a time, and then Keffe ditched them for private attorney Carl Arnold, who represented him at a number of hearings.
You do not think he had any involvement in the murder of Tupac Shakur?
No.
None?
None.
He's a liar then? That the statements...
I would definitely say he's a liar.
And then that eventually imploded, and he switched to a guy named Robert Draskevich last year. But in March of this year, Draskevich withdrew from the case, indicating that it may have been over financial issues, claiming, quote, "This is a fairly involved case. We were retained initially on this case in September. There's been an issue concerning the terms of a retainer, and again, we need to bring investigators, experts," end quote. And, those investigators and experts that you need to bring in to try and, disprove the prosecution's case, those all cost money. Lawyers cost money. So now he has another new defense attorney. And while switching attorneys in the past led to a trial delay in order to give new attorneys time to familiarize themselves with this case, Keffe's latest new attorney claims that there will be no more delays.
Does that work for you, Mr. Stamp?
If you want. I mean, if the court wants to have anything on her docket, that's fine, Your Honor. But outside of that, we'll be ready for calendar call and trial on this matter.
Okay.
So whatever the court prefers.
So unless Keffe is somehow able to post his bail in the next few weeks, I think the trial delays are done, which is great. It's been nearly 3 years since he was arrested, and I think everyone is ready to wrap this up. There are 2 more status check hearings scheduled for later this month regarding his trial, and then the jury trial is set to begin on August 10th. In April, Tupac's stepbrother Mopreme filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Keffe for Tupac's murder. But the lawsuit includes dozens of unnamed co-conspirators, and in addition to seeking damages, this suit aims to reveal, quote, "the specific nature and extent of each individual's involvement and the identities of additional individuals." And I know that they have discussed going after Diddy, and he is the one with the deeper pockets, obviously. So what are Keffe's odds of being convicted in August? Keffe's new lawyer, at least publicly, seems very confident, and it's possible that Keffe thinks he has a better chance at acquittal than he probably does. I've seen references to various studies that put the conviction rate when a suspect confesses at around 90%. And even when someone who confessed then pleads not guilty and tries to claim their confession was false, which is what Keffe is trying to do for all of his statements that he's made about the case, the conviction rate is still supposedly between 73% and 81%. And I suspect that a lot of those trials where the defendant claimed they made a false confession were situations where they were, grilled by detectives for 20 hours and finally caved and told police what they wanted to hear, which is not the case with Keffe. All of his statements about this case were made voluntarily, and most of them not even to the police. So we will see. Anything can happen at trial, and you never know what a jury will do. But I wouldn't gamble spending the rest of my life in prison on those odds. Lastly, some updates on this channel. We are exploding, growing by 2,000 new subscribers per week, and I am expanding my team. I have added a producer to help manage interview subjects, and I am in pre-production on my first new true crime docuseries exclusively for this channel. It is a wild serial killer story, and I am developing another Biggie project to coincide with the 30th anniversary of his murder, which is next year, and more. My plan is to make this channel a true crime powerhouse, and I just want to give a big thanks to everyone here now because your early support is making it all possible. Thank you, and in the comments, tell me what you think about Keffe's upcoming trial.